the professional events are now done in this game, as we have just won the Gran Turismo World Championship. And now that I've had something to eat, let's now begin our progress for today. And I think we'll probably do 2 more events and then we'll call it after that. So, we're now going to return to the rally events. And I think I know precisely what car it is I want to use to start with. I've given it some thought. I am going to make sure to be using all rally cars from here. As in basically all of the cars I'll be using will be technically rally cars. And I think to start this off, let's use... Yeah, let's use the Impreza prototype to begin with, because I think this might be just the car for us to start with, because why not? Okay. So we have now unlocked the extreme events, but those are not going to be coming until later on. And because we are now doing the hard rally events, it's pretty much essential to say that for pretty much any non-Group B cars that we use from here, we basically do need a turbo. So that's what I'm going to fit to this thing, because after I did my research on the event, I noticed my opponents will be putting out at least 400 horsepower. And as you might have guessed, that's precisely where the turbo comes in. So I've put the turbo on my rally car prototype now from 2001. And, well, I figured I might as well start this off by using a prototype, as we are now getting on with our third and final section of rally events in this game, the hard rally events. And if you're needing a refresher, well, they're basically the same 11 events that we've done before, except for saying this time we are now going to be running 5 laps on both the forward and reverse courses for each of these respective circuits, whether they be city courses, which in other words are tarmac courses, rallycross courses, which in other words is what El Capitan is there for, or the dirt and snow. Okay, I think you get the idea. Keep hold of the perfect racing line using unflinching accelerator control. Okay, let's go. And we are starting off with the Renault 5 Maxi Turbo as being our opponent for the first one. And before we continue, because you know I got to do this, I will be turning off... Oh yeah, the rally cars, by the way, are also defaulted with the racing super hards when you win them. Those are basically the default tyres you get with the rally cars you win, depending on which one it is. But anyway, here we go. 5 laps around the Italian street course, forward and reverse variants. And if we win this, we will get 55 points. But if you're asking me if the turbo was absolutely necessary, I can confidently say the answer is yes. The turbo was absolutely needed for this. Otherwise, I would not have had a chance in hell of keeping up with the Renault 5 in front of me. But what makes it easier is that, well... what makes it easier is the fact that the Renault 5 is basically 2-wheel drive, and I am, well, 4-wheel drive. And I think it's fair to say to start with, I'm already off to a good start because I'm already a second clear. And we're not even halfway through the lap yet. Okay, now we're about halfway through the lap. But either way, I put on the turbo because, well, I figured it was needed. The Renault is keeping up with me, and I somehow go straight into the wall. And now I have lost all my momentum. That is very unfortunate. But then again, I have said before that this course will bite you like a rattlesnake if you get it wrong. This course has definitely bitten me enough times to say that unless you're driving a four-wheel drive car, it's almost impossible to make a full recovery from your mistakes. And it is fair to say the Italian street course has definitely struck again. That was basically what happened in that instance. So the turbo is absolutely essential if you want to win this race. And that's pretty much what I have already proven to you because, well, I got caught out by one of the hands that basically feeds this snake of a course. As I said before, this course will catch you out like a rattlesnake if you get it wrong. And the other thing I mentioned was, unless you have a four-wheel drive car, it's almost impossible to make a full recovery, because you basically need about as much grip as you can get on all four tyres to basically wrap your head around this joint. It's definitely caught me out enough times to know when four-wheel drive is required here. If you're pledging to make a recovery, and somehow, some way, by the end of lap 2, in spite of my torrid mistake towards the end of the first lap, by the end of the second lap, I now retake the lead. Of course, rubber banding is pretty strong around these courses, so you have got to be prepared with the turbo, at least in the tarmac rallies, if you want to win them. Otherwise, you'll pretty much have no chance. So the only real piece of advice I can give to you about this race is, make sure you use a rally car, and you also make sure that you put on the turbo, because that is how you will successfully launch yourself to the front of the field. Might also be advisable to short shift through that section of corners, if you can. Because then you'll be able to get a strong exit out of that very tight cornering section. But like almost every other corner on this course, if you've never driven it before, there are plenty of spots where this course will strike. And you have got to be ready for if the course does decide to strike. I'm still convinced in saying the turbo was needed. But then again, because the Renault 5 rally car doesn't really outmatch the power output of the Subaru by much, I'd assume that's the reason why I now have an advantage. But I'm convinced in saying that's not always going to be the case. Because, well, the Renault 5 It is still a Group B car after all, and that's a wall. I kind of knew I was going to get a penalty eventually. There was honestly no way I was going to keep a hold of this thing without grazing at least one wall and giving myself a penalty. But at this time at least, I seem to be holding on to the lead rather nicely, as I have a less than 3-second advantage over the Renault 5 Maxi Turbo. And hopefully, if it's possible, it can stay that way. So, got one lap to go here on the forward variant of the Italian street course. The Renault is not letting me just straight up run away with this thing. He is keeping relatively strong tabs on me from what's been seen so far. And I think it's fair to say, of course, that judging by where the gap currently is, I would say that bolting on the turbo was definitely a justifiable move. Because otherwise I might not have recovered from the mistake I made earlier on. And short shifting again, because that's how I am able to slip and slide through these corners. And I hit the wall again. Oh god. I really thought for sure he was going to pass me there, but he somehow didn't. Okay, switching back to the... I'm going to switch back to the roof cam view again, because I really don't want to lose this. I don't think losing is really going to be too much of a problem here, but again, I just figured I'd switch over to this view because, well, this will make my job easier to get to the finish. And still a pretty good race altogether. That was still a lot of fun, in spite of me getting caught out by pretty much the same infrastructure that caught me out on the first lap. But regardless, I still came away with the W. And that is all I care about. The W is mine, as is 20,000 credits. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, gonna save the replay now because, well, last replay I saved was on the reverse course, so I might as well save another one on the forward course whilst I'm at it. I figured that's the best way to go about this. So saving the replay at Città d'Aria, also known as the Italian street course, and now we can move on to race 2. Okay, let's go. And this one is Subaru versus Subaru. I'm a bit hesitant over whether I should take the turbo off, but then again, well, the power range is pretty similar, so... Oh, never mind. It's only going to be 18 points if I win. Maybe I didn't need the turbo kit on for this second one. But, then again, I chose to be smart about this. I'm pretty sure that's the same... I'm pretty sure that is the same Subaru Impreza that was driven by Petter Solberg during his 2003 championship run, where he was able to beat Sebastian Loeb, of all people, with just his crazy consistency for basically the duration of the year, making him officially the third and last World Rally Champion for Subaru. The other two, of course, being Richard Burns, and the first one, as all of you probably know, is of course who else but the late great Colin McRae. And 1.1 seconds up. I probably didn't need the turbo on for this one, but I chose to pretty much play it out with the turbo anyway, because, well, looks, as well as point scores from time to time, they can be deceptive. And you have got to at least be ready for if those deceptive moves do decide to show themselves. And knowing my history with this course, they probably will decide to show themselves somewhere along the way. So I have a 3.5 second lead now over the other Subaru. I think that's probably going to decrease at some point, because inevitably this course will catch me out, as it has. Sorry about that. As it has done so enough times for me to say that this course punishes you. And that's pretty much what's happening here. Oh, thanks guy, you actually got me moving again. I was trying to see if I could actually pull off a 3-point turn using my controller, but ultimately I just wound up getting push started by the other Subaru, which is also helpful because, well, he basically got me going again, and also because, well, he basically just had nowhere else to go. But yeah, I figured that sort of mistake was obviously going to be what would keep this race close. It's also my main reason for keeping the turbo strapped to this thing. I know I probably didn't need it, but the truth is, I wasn't prepared to risk it because of what this course will do to you if you think you're above it. So in some cases, you pretty much have to be, especially around a course like this, it normally is better to be safe than sorry. I know I have a 4-second lead now, but I highly doubt I'm going to hold on to that, because of just how crazy setting a lap around this course really is, and because of all the areas where this course will bite you. That is one thing I've come to establish about this place. Your lead is basically not secure until you pretty much get to the end of that last lap. And you've pretty much got to be, and there's another penalty. Fortunately, however, I did have enough of a gap to at least stay ahead of my fellow Subaru, or in other words, my sibling Subaru. Since that's more or less who I'm technically racing here. Alright, 2 laps to go. 2 more laps of craziness, and 2 more laps of probably wrecking myself. Yeah, you can probably understand why I kept the turbo fitted to this thing. Because, well, you basically never know when this course will bite you, as it has done to me so many times before. And it's fair to say that this race is definitely adding to all those times where I know a course like this has caught me out more than once. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it happens at least one more time before we're through here. Plus, the race has still been pretty close. In spite of me having the turbo fitted, this race has still been pretty close for more than half of it. Plus, I have made a lot of mistakes up to this point, so it is fair to say that this course literally does not give a shit over whether you're just a matter of inches off on your corner exits. The results will still be just the same if you get it wrong. There is a reason why I often use the rattlesnake comparison to more or less justify what this course will do to you. I mean, this course is really fun, there's no question about it, but if you get it wrong, then it really does bite you as suddenly as a rattlesnake. And there's almost nothing you can do about it once you know you have been caught out. This course will do that a lot, and it's fair to say that its reputation of being a rattlesnake, in my opinion, has not faded. Because it can just literally catch you out so suddenly that you almost feel like you're practically screaming as you're fighting for your life to somehow not see yourself being face first into the wall before you actually get to the end. And yep, that's one last twist in this rally as I would have expected. Okay, I don't get another penalty. Probably should have lifted for that corner, but either way it doesn't matter because I make it 2 out of 2 in the hard Umbria rally. And I win in the end by a comfortable 9 seconds, whilst also setting a new best lap time in the process. But there we go. That was the Umbria rally on the hard difficulty. And now, let's go and collect our prize car. We have also already saved a replay, so it's fine. So for winning the hard Umbria rally, we get the Lancia Delta S4. Yeah, it's this thing. I think I know precisely what this thing is. Ironically, the same car that ended the Group B regulations a year after it debuted. But either way, this car is still iconic in its own rights. So there we go. The hard Umbria rally has now been beaten, and we've got to go a long way down to find it. Here it is. So the hard Umbria rally is now beaten, and next up will be the Capri rally. And I have now moved up 40 grand since I spent 45 on the turbo kit. That also won't be the last time that happens. But anyway, we move up another 0.4%. And now let's try and see... Oh, we've now reached 100 cars. And it took me 71 episodes to get there. Okay, Mr. Delta, where are you? Here you are. The Lancia Delta S4 rally car from 1985. And we can sell this thing for, I think, the exact same price as the Toyota RSC rally car, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, this car still sells for a lot, which is worth being noted. But anyway, it's another Group B homologation, so I'm obviously not going to sell it. I don't need any money because I have enough to get through the rally events. And I have now driven almost 1,250 miles. Not bad. Anyway, Umbria Rally is down, and next up we have the hard Capri Rally coming up next.